So one of your recent videos, you highlighted the fact that in 2018, we had 297 people die from a rifle. 235 was from shotguns. 1,515 was from stabbing. 672 was killed by hands and feet. If 297 is rifle, 235 is shotgun, if we have so many more in stabbings and hands and feet, why are so many folks in DC on the left trying to figure out ways to overregulate guns?
I think what you have to do is you have to break down the audience. So if you're talking about just the general population of people in the middle who are just regular people and they're not in politics, who want to do those things, they have a different motivation. Then you have the people in DC, as you stated, who have their own motivations. And I think largely the motivation is control. And sometimes that desire for control is they are serving as almost a proxy for other interests that have a desire for said control. Because what you'll get is you'll get a lot of politicians who are getting money from people like the Bloombergs of the world and so forth and so on, who they've made this issue their thing. This is their life mission, so to speak. And so when they're responsible for getting them elected in these particular areas, in these different races, then they can't go against the person who helped them get there in the first place. So they're going to push for these types of laws because they want these types of laws. But then you also get individuals in positions of power who don't like the idea of the common man having access to the things that they consider to be high powered, because they like the idea of sitting on this oligarchy or this throne above everybody else, because they don't see themselves as our representatives. They see themselves as our leaders. And so you can't just have the common everyday man on the same level of degree of power, so to speak, as you are when it comes to the ability to protect and take life. Because the most important thing we have and the most valuable thing we have in this world is our life. So from that perspective, if I'm somebody who sees myself as above the common man, and I looked down and I was like, so let me get this straight. You mean to tell me this little plebeian down here can own this AR-15? And then if he decides that he wants to come, I don't know, take my life, we're on the same page? No, I want to relegate this person to, okay, maybe handguns for now. But even then, I don't really like the handgun stuff either. So I rather them, if they're going to protest and they're going to be angry with us, I don't want them showing up with rifles and handguns. I want them showing up with rocks and sticks, because we have the forces necessary to deal with that. But you're talking about a whole bunch of people that if we do something to them that they don't like collectively, you mean to tell me that they can collectively come together, take up arms and make a stand? No. We can't have that. And so I think that's a motivation for some of those people who are in positions of power.
So let's look at the two different sides. I'm going to give you my view of what I see both sides bring in their arguments, and then you give me what else you would add to it, and agree, disagree, whatever may be added. So one side, you got the right side. Republicans may say, look, you can't take my gun. Second Amendment was there not because of, me having a gun to go out there, go, hunting or getting, food. It's more for tyranny in case the government turns against me and I can protect myself against them. So, and the AR-15 is one of the best rifles out there. No, AR is not called assault rifle. AR stands for, you know what AR stands for. So, well, no, it is an assault rifle. No, it's not. So why do we need to do background checks? There's no need for a lot of extensive background checks. Why do you need training? If somebody needs to go get a gun today, they should be able to get it. I lived in California, in Texas, and in Florida. In Texas, I can go buy a gun and leave, and I want it to be that way, right? California, I had to wait, I think it was 4 weeks. I don't know what the exact timeline was, like 30 days or something like that. Yeah. So that's this side. On the other side is, look at all these mass shootings. These people, if they didn't have access to the guns, this would have never happened. Why do you need all these guns anyways? Why do you need these semi-automatic weapons? What's the purpose of it? You make me feel scared by all of you owning so many guns. I think it's better if we become a little bit more responsible. How hard is it to understand this? Why is it so complicated? What else would you add to the arguments of each side?
I think, honestly, you kind of covered it. But overarching, at least on the other side, is fear. It's outright fear. It's this idea, because most people don't really think of themselves as being the protector or the defender. They see themselves as the victim. There's a potential victim. So when you only see yourselves as a potential victim, what you think to do is, well, let me disarm the potential attacker, not let me empower myself to defend myself against a potential attacker. And so I think for a lot of people on the opposite side who don't want these guns out there, they are overarchingly scared of the potential for people to do something bad to them. And so for me, if I was going to add anything, it's just that overwhelming fear.
Okay. So let's add those in there, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So now let's go back to guns. If they take my guns away from me, let's just say they do take our guns away from us. What can they do to us that they can't do today? So let's actually go there. I'm not telling you this
Okay.
is something
Yeah,
we agree
yeah,
on.
yeah.
But please keep in mind, you come to my house. I'm a former
Oh,
military
yeah.
hunter, airborne. You know my background and you know my
Yeah.
position. But I'm asking, let's go to worst case scenario.
Mhm.
Let's say Beto O'Rourke runs it. He's in charge and he's the guy. And he comes and he confiscates everything away from you. Forget about registering your guns. Well, let us register, because if they register, that's phase one. Then it's next one confiscate. I'm just telling you, they're going to come and take everything. What's the worst thing they can do to us?
After they've taken the guns?
They got all the guns. What's the worst thing they can do to us?
I don't know. Ask China.
You're going that far in. So you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Why not? Because at that point, what's to stop them? There's nothing to stop them. Everything now at this point is really kind of a negotiation. All the things that they try to make us do now is really kind of a negotiation between them and us. At that point, there's no negotiation. They can just do it. And then if we don't like what they do, at best, they suppress whatever half-ass attempt of uprising that goes on and then keep it moving. Isn't that what they did in Hong Kong?
So I'm from Iran, and in Iran also you can't have guns. It's just the government and you don't have the guns, right? They have it, you don't have it. Same as China, same as a lot of different places on that side. But what is the most valuable thing you and I have? What is the most valuable thing you and I have? If you ask the average person, what would they say? What do you think it is? If we were to say the most valuable thing we have in America?
I'm going to say in America, our freedom.
Okay, so let's just say freedom is one, which is potentially freedom of what? Free enterprise, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of Second Amendment, freedom, a lot of different freedoms, right? Yeah. So let's say it's freedom. Let's say it's your voice. Let's say it's your life, okay? Some may say life is at the top. Some may say freedom's at the top, right? Okay. So if they take your guns away today, is to do what? To put fear into you that they can't already do to you today anyways, which is what? I mean, we got a lot of things that we're worried about, but nowadays, if the government wants to destroy you, they can silence you, because we know these big social media companies, they're pretty much virtual governments. You know that, I know that. And Facebook's a virtual government, Twitter's a virtual government, YouTube's a virtual government. If they even want to turn against one of their own guys, Cuomo, they can do it. They're about to destroy Cuomo. If they want to silence Trump, they can do it. If they want to find you didn't pay $5 in taxes and put you in prison for 6 months to defame you or hurt you, they can pretty much do that if you think about it. So what is more painful that they can already do today that's going to change if they're able to take our guns away from us? What can they do today that they can do then?
So here's the thing, though. Every example that you name was about an individual, right? Yes. As an individual, could they shut me down? Could they do all the things that you mentioned before? Yeah. Yes. But the idea about the Second Amendment is about the collective coming together and stopping an overreaching government from a collective standpoint. And what the gun does and what allows us to do is to serve as a check against a government potentially doing those things. Because a lot of people think, well, the government has tanks, they have missiles, they have drones, they have all of these things. So how do you think you're ever going to defeat the government? And it's not necessarily about that specifically. It's a deterrent, because at the end of the day, what's the point of ruling over people you've completely destroyed? There's nothing there's nothing left for you to rule over. So from that perspective, they understand that, like, look, we can only go so far and do in certain things, whether it be, like I said, pointing out some of the things that are taking place in places like China. From that perspective, if they try to do that from a wholesale collective standpoint, what you're going to get is groups of people coming together to fight back against that. Now, if I'm on my own, I can't one-man army it to death. I can't. I'm going to lose that battle every single time. But as the Second Amendment stated, being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And people like to say, well, it's based around a militia. Yeah, the militia is consistent of each individual coming together to fight against a potential tyrannical government. And so, yes, individually, they can do a lot of things to me. But when that tyranny starts to become widespread and starts affecting enough people, having the means and the ability with our firearms to stand up to the government changes the whole dynamic instantly.
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.